With technology being everywhere around us, it's become an unavoidable part of daily life. As technology becomes a bigger part of learning, it's important for us to set guidelines and explore the consequences of technology at such a critical time for students.
I just think that, and to no blame to students, but like if you have your phone in front of you or if you have a Chromebook in front of you, like Snake is way more appealing than like APGO, right? And so it's just constant battle trying to like get students to stay on task, do the right things with their technology. The same kids who are going to play Fortnite on their phone are playing Snake on their Chromebook, right? Like we still have to have those conversations. But for the most part, the activities that we've been doing with the technology, students seem to be slightly more interested in, and so maybe they're less likely to, I don't know, be bored or whatever because they're kind of engaged in what we're doing so far.
Да, всякие были студенты, которые хорошо учились, которые просто баловались, не хотели учиться.
So, especially with phones, but even with computers, Chromebooks, students can get into social media. They're worried about what their phone is telling them, who's texting them, who's posting something. So that distraction seems constant for many kids because it is so much a part of their daily life that many of them seem perhaps addicted.
I think that in some cases it is distracting, but in other cases it's something that we kind of need, and a lot of times like the teachers will tell you to like pull your phone out for something.
Is it distracting when other people use it?
I think when other people use it, it's more just hurting them. Like if they're on their phone during class or something, I think it's more just hurting them. I think that it's fine to have Chromebooks like when we need them and not just all the time.
An article titled "A School's Way to Fight Phones in Class, Lock 'em Up" describes a school in Boston, where they've adopted a system of locking students' phones in cloth bags for the duration of the school day. Teachers at this school say that, sneaky as kids think they are, teachers know exactly what's going on when students look up at those zombie stares and constantly ask, "Can you say that again?" The article makes it clear that phones are a big distraction for students, but in very unexpected ways. One of the students admits that phones are distracting everyone socially. She says, "All my friends would be on their phones during lunch, and I was just sitting there, staring out the window, waiting for a conversation to spark up. But now, we talk a lot more." We've established that phones can be distracting educationally. We all know they can make kids stumble in learning and lose attention during class, but no one has spoken about how they may affect students socially. Of course, this connects to being socially aware and participating in class, but it can go much deeper than that. As technology spreads and evolves, it becomes easier and more convenient for people to choose their screens instead of their friends or family. This school made a decision that broke the standards of normal society, and it proved to be beneficial.
I think that older students make better decisions about using breaks for checking the sort of social part of it, and class time more for the beneficial part of it. But still, that's not across the board. I wouldn't say that that's 100% true.
It's interesting because students 5 years ago had a certain level of like technological experience, but students coming now, I think, have been using those programs and technology throughout middle school and maybe even elementary school. So I think freshmen come in almost better equipped to use technology on a daily basis because they've been using it for so long.
In the same school in Boston, age does seem to make a difference. A math teacher at the school says, "The seniors are like, I'm too big and bad for this." They think that it's a good thing, but for other people, not them. So it's always like, someone else needs the medication, not me. The National Public Radio article continues. There are, however, some brave souls like senior Yelena Terrero Martinez, who admit that they are less distracted during school and even later at home. "I don't reach for my phone as much," Martinez says, "because if you don't feed into the habit eventually slows down."
Значит, я хотела спросить, вы студенты были больше понимали, фокусировались в классе или нет? Или все равно как-то?
Конечно, больше. Строже было все.
Значит, вам легче было учиться, когда вы сидели на уроке, просто вас учили, вам легко было понимать все, да?
Ну, от учителя зависело. Если учитель хорошо, доступно объяснял, значит легче. А если нет, то...
I would say that prior to every student having a cell phone and being addicted to their cell phones, like that was never, like, obviously that wasn't a discipline problem, but kids are always kind of distracted by things, or hanging out with each other talking about some things. So I'm not sure if phones have changed overall performance. I would say at times though they get in the way of learning.
So do you think that the attention spans of kids have changed over time?
That seems to be my experience.
Yeah.
That I have to break up activities in my classes far more than I did even 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago. Students don't sustain the same level of thought and focus that they used to.
Надо использовать его по назначению компьютера во время урока, а не для игры или...
Значит, вы думаете, я лучше бы училась, если без телефона я была?
Я думаю, больше была сосредоточена на учебе, но технологии помогают, ты можешь много там чего найти.
Ну, как вы мне компьютер новый купили из-за того, что мне нужны уроки.
Да, на ютубе очень там, или на всяких этих самых, там же много где-то что-то посмотреть. Если, короче, по назначению им пользоваться, это очень хорошо помогает, а если не по назначению, то это плохо.
I would say overall, it's beneficial for students to have technology in the classroom, beneficial from a teacher's perspective to be able to use technology in the classroom, assuming that it's used well or for the right purposes. Having access to a game or distractions is a detriment to student learning for sure. Having access to resources and using them appropriately, I think, is great for students.
Do you think it's more of a benefit to schools and students and learning and stuff, or is it just...
Yes and no. I think it's kind of a setback for people who can't afford to have Wi-Fi at all, or who can't pay for it.
Yeah.
But it also is a good thing because people can do their work at home.
I think ultimately it's more of a benefit, but it really needs supervision and, shall we say, regulation for it to be beneficial. I think that without certain policies regarding those technologies in the classroom, then I think it's a detriment.
A freshman from the previously mentioned school says that if you want to use your phone in class, use it, but at the end of the day, you're going to have the bad grade. As a student, he understands that if you use your phone as a distraction, then you ruin your chances of a good grade. Yet, phones are highly beneficial for teachers and students alike when they are used for learning. The article, Using Smartphones in the Classroom, states, a great app for keeping students on top of their work is Remind 101, where students voluntarily sign up to receive a text reminder when they have an upcoming assignment due. Not only does it help students better organize their assignments, but it's also engaging parents. Technology has helped students for years because of these apps that change the learning experience altogether. A teacher puts it this way, I was stunned by how many more kids started doing the homework, he says. I just thought that they didn't want to do the work, but it was more that they were unorganized and had forgotten to do it. Although phones can be, or at least seem to be, extremely beneficial tools for learning, attention, and accountability of students, Randy Yerrick, Associate Dean of Educational Technology at the University of Buffalo, disagrees. He says engagement is a fluffy term. In the article, The Classroom of Future, Stagnant Scores, he continues, there is very little valid and reliable research that shows the engagement causes or leads to higher academic achievement. So if we're going to go off what he states, then we can never fully say that technology is completely beneficial. At least not in the category of engagement. We can always get distracted with or without phones and technology, but it's a fact that technology makes it much easier to become distracted even if you are engaged. But we can always look at the positive side, because an article by the New York Times, Technology Changing How Students Learn, teachers say, talks about a Pew survey the College Board and the National Writing Project coordinated. This survey says that although 90% said that digital technologies were creating an easily distracted generation with short attention spans, roughly 75% of 2,462 teachers surveyed said that the internet and search engines had a mostly positive impact on student research skills. Again, this shows that technology can have a good effect on kids and students as much as it can have a bad effect, but it all depends on our definition of good and bad effects and what causes we are feeding in to get those good and bad results. A freshman proposes a thought by saying that instead of taking phones away, Schools should be guiding kids and empowering them to manage their phone use for themselves. Basically, instead of scolding kids constantly, which only makes them want to cling to their technology more, teachers could help them take control of the learning devices that they have. On the other hand, in Technology Changing How Students Learn, teachers say, Dr. Dimitri, who studies the impact of technology on the brain and is the director of the Center for Child Health, Behavior, and Development at Seattle Children's Hospital, emphasizes that teachers' views were subjective, but nevertheless could be accurate in sensing dwindling attention spans among students. Not only that, but the heavy technology use makes reality by comparison uninteresting. This shows that when discussing the future of technology in the classroom, the most important thing is to look at both sides evenly. It seems most people agree that when used correctly, technology can be beneficial for students, but there's still quite a bit of research that needs to be done on the topic.